As you were able to see in the previous lectures, our script is now running very smoothly. So what's left to be done there is to make this script run on the background as soon as the computer starts. Which means that the Python program, the script that we built, will run and it will check for the time, and then it will do something depending on what time it is. But at the moment, the way we are running this is by opening a command line and then pointing to the script. That command line remains open as the script is running. So probably we don't want that. We don't want to have the terminal open there all the time as we do work in our computer. So a better solution would be to find a way to run the script on the background. And there exists a solution. It's just that the workaround is different on Windows and on a Mac and Linux. So this lecture is about making the final touch to the program so that we can make it work on Windows, to have the Python program run as a process in the background. So for Linux users and Mac users, you can safely skip this lecture and go to the next one where you can implement this script as a background process. So yeah, hello Windows user. I'm on Windows 7 here, but the solution should work on other versions of Windows as well. So how do we make a script run in the background as a process? Well, there's a simple trick you can do on Windows. You know, you have the installation of Python there. Let me go open file location. So when you're running a program, when you say Python and script.py, you're using this python.exe file, so which is an executable of the Python program. You use this program to run your file. Now, to run Python files on the background, you want to use python-w.exe, which is a specific subversion of Python for running Python scripts as a background. And there's a simple trick you can do. You want to change the extension to pyw. And once you do that, now you can go ahead. So here is the file, which extension I just changed. And what you can do now is just double click this to execute it. And there is no terminal shown, so the script should be running now. And you can verify that in the task manager. So this one here, which you can open, by the way. Right click in here and start task manager. And then go to processes, and then you should be looking for Python, for a process named Python here. And this time I expect this not to be here, so Python is not here, so you should expect python-w.exe to be here. And the reason it's not there is that the script wasn't able to run because when you double click this, you are double clicking it as a user, not as an administrator. And if you're not executing it as an administrator, you're not being able to access this, to modify this host file. Because as you know from the previous lectures, this is a protected file by Windows. But if you change this hosts file, let's change it to the host temp, which is this local file here, so the fake host file, where we don't need administrator rights to access it. Hosts temp. And now I go ahead and double click the Python file again. And now I should see python-w.exe in the processes, as you see here. So you don't really see any output printed out, but you can see maybe the results of this. So this is a host file which hasn't been added the domains in here because this says the working hours are between 4 and 7 p.m. Now it's 2:38. So let's change this to 8 and 16. Save the script and go and stop this process because this is running the old file and process. And I'll run again the file and check the host file. And now you should see these 4 lines which have been added in here. Great. Now, let me stop this and process. And yeah, now we are able to run our Python file as a process in the background. Now let's go ahead and implement the scheduling part. So we want to run this program as soon as the computer starts. To do that, you want to go to Task Scheduler. Just there. And then create a create task. Put a name for the task. I'm calling this website blocker. And configure for, I'm on a Windows 7, so I'm going to choose that. So Windows 7, and one important thing to do is you want to check this run with highest privileges, because if you don't do that, Windows will try to run the script from the normal user, so you want, in our case, we need administrative rights. So check that, and then go to triggers, and then new. So begin the task. When do you want to run the program? Well, we want to run the program at startup. Well, they should be fine. Then go to actions, and you want to create a new action. So what do you want to do? Well, we want to start a program. And normally you want to point to your program script, which is this one here, website blocker.pyw. Open that. Okay, conditions, and you may want to uncheck this option. You also want to run the Python program when you're on a battery on a laptop. And yeah, we should be good to go now. Press OK, and here is the website blocker task, which is ready to be run when the system starts up. So you may also want to disable it, but that's for another case. And yeah, now when you start your computer, the program should be running, and your Python loop will run every 5 seconds, and the Python program will check the host file and so on. So you may want to test to restart your program now, or you can go here and test it by clicking run. Now the status is showing as running, and you may want to check if the task is really running or not. And it seems like it's not running. So python.w.exe is not here. And the worst thing is that we don't even get any error now, because the task, the Python process is running on the background. And I know the reason why this is not running. You know, if you see in the script now, you'll notice that I'm still trying to modify the localhost file, whose path is being passed in here as a relative path. So this is not an absolute path like this one here. And the problem with that is, you know, Windows is now executing this website blocker.pyw script, is executing it from another directory. So it's not executing this from the Dropbox pp blog website demo. Therefore, it cannot find a file with this path. Therefore, the solution to this is to actually pass the full path of the file here. Because as we are now, Python is not trying to find this host file, so it's probably throwing an error that says the host file does not exist. So let's go ahead and I'll copy this directory, put it there, and hosts. A backslash there, and pass the R prefix so that you can escape special characters. Save that, and yeah, now go to the task scheduler and end this and try to run again. So it says running now, and let's see. And yeah, now this is running. So python.w.exe, and you can also check the host file. So the lines are there because it's between 8 and 4 p.m. So it's 4 to 3 the time. And yeah, the final thing we want to do is stop this very quickly and change this to the real path, host path, and this as well. save it and go to the task scheduler and end the current task. So it's ready now, and run it again. Go to the processes. Python w.exe is there, so it's running. You may also want to check the host file, which is in my notepad, and it says the file has been modified. And yeah, I can see the lines there, the 4 websites that I want to block. And maybe you're wondering why this first line is there, so it should be separated in here and be there, but the reason this line was up here was because the cursor was set to this point before executing the Python script. So you may want to set the cursor, so let me delete this. You may want to set the cursor in here before starting the Python program, so before implementing this program. Now I saved it, and I now expect this file to be refreshed by Python again. So let me close that and open it again. And now, yeah, now this looks good. We have an empty line there, but that isn't a problem. So things will still work, even with Facebook in here like it was earlier. Things should also work, and everything looks to be working fine. I now cannot access Facebook between 8 AM and 4 PM. And that's all about it. In the next lecture I'm showing how to do the same, so how to run Python as a process in the background for Linux and Mac users. And that will end this section. So hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you make the most of this program for your use, your daily use. If something isn't working there, just drop me a question or a message, and yeah, I'll be happy to help you. Or even if you have questions regarding the script. So I know this has been lots of indentation here, and probably you get some errors there, and probably that error is because of indentation. So be careful with indenting your lines. And yeah, I'll close this now, and I'll see you in the next lecture then. Thanks.